Hi everyone, welcome back. It's April the 1st here in Somerset, and we've just hit the first real bottleneck of the season. The system is under pressure. The cabbages are surging, but the tomatoes are already waiting. They need their space, but the ground isn't ready for the transfer. Today, we manage that gap. We don't force the growth, we engineer the entry. And to understand this bottleneck, we need to understand the numbers. We need to look at the thermal delta.
The reason for this bottleneck is a 4-degree thermal delta. Inside the tunnel, the soil is warming earlier. Outside, the ground is still dormant. The soil is cold to the touch and slow to respond to the longer days. Inside, things move differently. Plastic changes the rhythm of the season. It holds warmth in the soil and nudges the biological clock forward. A small temperature difference changes everything. It shifts the entire production schedule. While the outdoor beds wait for warmth, the tunnel allows us to prepare. In early spring, preparation is quiet work. Small adjustments now make the rest of the season easier. This is about managing the growth gap. We're bridging the time between winter crops and summer modules. In this phase of the April offensive, every gram of input counts. We're looking for high efficiency gains. First, we terminate the blackout protocol in Zone 2. This area has been under black plastic for months. It suppresses the weeds and traps the early solar gain. The plastic has done its job. The soil is warm, but the lack of surface weather has caused it to cap. It's forming a thin crust. This can slow down early germination. Before we sow anything, it needs a small reset. I'm adding 357 grams of blood, fish and bone. It goes onto the surface. Nothing's dug in here. This garden runs on a no-dig system. The nutrients stay on top. They'll work their way down naturally, with moisture and soil life. I'm opening a very shallow fracture line, just across the surface. This is enough to break the crust. The seeds won't hit resistance when they begin to grow. We want the primary taproot to dive deep. We want it to dive fast, without any physical interference. Healthy soil is structured. It has air pockets and moisture channels. It's full of living organisms. The fungi connect the plants below the surface. The bacteria process the nutrients. When we disturb the soil too much, that network breaks. So we work with the soil instead of turning it over. We're managing a living system, not just a patch of dirt. What goes into this bed is a long-term investment. Parsnips and carrots take time. From seed to harvest, you're looking at 120 days. Sometimes it takes a little longer, depending on the Somerset weather. In early spring, patience is part of the process. These seeds always ask for patience. Real work is invisible for the first few weeks. Radishes help solve the timing problem. They wake up fast, usually within a few days. Parsnips are much slower. Sometimes they take 2, even 3 weeks. I'm using radish hued markers between every parsnip station. The radishes act as sentinels. They show us where the rows are. They protect the spacing and give a quick early harvest. The slower roots quietly develop underneath. This is relay cropping. One crop begins, while another is still finishing. The bed never sits empty. Sunlight keeps hitting green leaves, energy keeps flowing through the system. That's how we maintain production, even in a small garden. It's a high efficiency use of the deep ladder system. We're maximizing every inch of the bed. We're capturing solar energy at every stage of the cycle. The root crops are starting their season outside, but the tomatoes are still waiting. These are the San Marzano reserve plants. They're in their intermediate stage. At this point, the key question is simple. Are they ready for the larger pots? We check the root system. This is the easiest way to know. If the roots are circling the base, the plant wants more space. But today, they're not quite there. The roots are healthy. They're white and active. But they're still exploring the soil. They're not binding the container yet. Moving them now would waste energy. It risks a chilled root zone if the temperature dips. So for now, they stay exactly where they are. Early in the season, the hardest decision is often doing nothing. Plants move at their own pace, and the best results usually come from paying attention. Good gardening is about biological data. It's not about forcing things to match a calendar. We respond to the plant. We don't respond to our own impatience. Observation is our most valuable tool. It's more important than any fertilizer or any tool. The plants aren't moving yet, but the infrastructure must be ready. These are recycled 1-litre Oncom pots. They'll hold the next stage of tomato growth. Before they're used, they need proper drainage. I don't use a drill. Drilling can crack or splinter the plastic. Instead, I melt the holes. I use a soldering iron. The heat seals the plastic as it cuts. It leaves clean, rounded opening. These won't snag the roots later. Each pot gets an 8-hole drainage pattern. Now, the entire batch is staged. It's ready in the arsenal. When the plants reach the next stage, the pots are waiting. The supply line is ready. In a working garden, preparation removes friction. In April, the garden begins to accelerate. Growth compounds quickly. One warm week can change everything. If the infrastructure isn't ready, the plants will outrun the system. Pots, soil, space in the beds, everything must already be in place. Preparation allows the garden to absorb that surge of growth without chaos. We're building capacity. We're creating the room for the plants to thrive. When the seedlings are ready, the system moves immediately. There's no friction. There's no delay. We're keeping pace with the season. A well-prepared system handles the surge of April growth. So finally, we recharge the nutrient bank in Zone 4. This is where the cabbage is working hardest. We must support this final surge, but we can't deplete the soil for the next crop. So we're side dressing with 2 distinct inputs. First, 539 grams of blood, fish and bone. This provides a sustained nitrogen release. Second, 385 grams of composted manure pellets. This adds organic matter. It adds trace minerals. This isn't just about feeding the cabbage. It's about prep loading the soil. The tomatoes will follow in 6 weeks. In a small garden, the soil is never idle. Each crop prepares the ground for the one that follows. In this system, every bed is preparing for the crop that comes next. We're banking fertility for the summer offensive.
So, the relay started. The cabbages continue. And the San Marzano tomatoes hold their position. The calendar is pushing, but the ground is resisting. We're banking fertility for the summer offensive. Operation Prep is complete. Report your progress in the comments, and I'll see you in the next phase.